Ete-em-hetep Seni Senat Ankwas Jed Mary Uncle Jasanab Dua. And thanks for joining another broadcast of the Khenti-hen-nefer Network, the praises of the divine. Y'all know what we do, man. I'm just hanging out tonight. I had a couple things on my mind. I watched a couple videos today. I did an article or two over this week, basically. And I'm just seeing some stuff in the air. A lot of stuff in the air. So, hopefully, all the Christians will stay prayed up, stay prayed up. So yeah, Khenti-hen-nefer, stay prayed up. They telling you the truth, stay prayed up. But know who to pray to. Know what you're praying to. Know what you're venerating. Know what you're deifying. Know who you are and be an Ausar, an Elasar. But anyway, just shooting the breeze. I just wanted to touch on a couple things today. A video I seen. I'm so tired of Kemet, the brother said, and I understand his frustration concerning. We're gonna cover that a little later, but first, I wrote a couple articles, right? And I just want to get into some of these articles because I made these for you, the people, and I made them for some corrections in history, and I could have elaborated a lot more, but it's just a blog. If someone cares to challenge some of the ideas I put forth, by all means, come on with it. This is the Honeycomb Hideout, as you can see. Shout out to my brother Patah Sekir, sent me the calendar in the back. Shout out to my brother Sabar Reggie. Shout out to my brothers at Sankofa. Shout out to most of the Seshu Ma'am-ni Medu-necha clique. Shout out to all my Khenti-hen-nefer clique. What up, Ascari, brother Asar, some of the other brothers. There's a lot of brothers. I ain't gonna name everybody right now. There's a lot of things moving right now, and I'm just sitting back. But let me touch on first this article I wrote, not to deify Kemet only, but Kemet is going to be deified, absolutely, and it needs to. But I also deified Khenti-hen-nefer, Nubia, to most of you. Very important. And not that that's the starting point, because if you know me and you've been to my website, which is down at the moment, you already know the praise that I give to the different groups in African culture. So no one says Kemet is first here. We know that. But what most people do not understand is Kemet. Let me put it this way. When you go to Europe, you talk about France, you talk about England. I want to go to London. I need to be in London. If you go to Europe, you may want to hit, the Meccas. What's popping, if you will. When you go to Australia, you go to Sydney. When you go to Brazil, you go to Sao Paulo, unless you can move around. Like me, you could go to Curitiba Purana or something. You might be able to move around a little bit. When you go to Africa, you want to go to Egypt, you want to go to Ghana, and you want to go to South Africa. It is what it is. It's not that that's a disrespect to Senegal with its fine culture. It's not that that's a disrespect to Cameroon. Fine culture. It's not a disrespect to Liberia. Shout out to my boy. Just won his championship, my brother from Liberia, Muay Thai expert, straight from Africa, from Liberia in particular. It's not that you disrespect those other cultures. When you come to America, you're trying to go to New York or Las Vegas, 9 times out of 10. You probably are not trying to come here to Colorado, where I'm at currently. You want to probably hit my old spot in Harlem. or Manhattan Island, or Brooklyn, P-Lawn, the Bronx. That's where you're trying to be at. That's what you're trying to do. And it's because it's what's popping right now. It's what's popular right now. It's what's happening at the moment. It was happening back in the day. If the whole world stopped right now, you know where most of the artifacts will be? New York, California, Las Vegas. They may think Las Vegas was popping more than New York or Florida even, but they'll think it's popping more than New York just because of the way the strips are built. They'll probably call that the granddaddy of them all if we were to travel in time and they knew nothing about ancient culture. Somehow we lost some type of connection like we supposedly lost with Kemet and Nubia or Khenti-hen-nefer, and found the cities, and they probably think Las Vegas was the grandstand of them all. So the first thing I'm going to do, or let me keep that thought. So what you do when you go to these places, or when we deify Kemet, number one, some of our spirituality extends from there. Some of us practice that spirituality. And if you know me, I worship my ancestors. I respect them. I venerate them. I deify them. I don't know any religion who doesn't. They may claim they do not. My Muslim brothers, I'll talk to you real quick before I move on. Well, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. I'm just chewing the fat right now. I got kickboxing on, but we need to have this talk. So I'm just chew the fat right now. So when we deify Kemet, it's not that we're saying, this is for my brother in the video, even though he had good intentions, and I respect his statements because he's right. Some of you do act as if Kemet is the end all end. And it wasn't, but it was the Mecca. It was the Rastal. It was the Kamenu of its time. It was the place to be. You understand? And it's not that we're saying that the other African cultures didn't matter. When I write an article like the one I'm about to speak on, what we're saying is that those cultures created that culture. New York by itself is comprised of 5 boroughs. New York is not New York if you don't have Harlem. New York is not New York if you don't have Brooklyn. New York cannot be New York without Queens, Staten Island, etc., etc. The Bronx. Okay, you understand? Those 5 boroughs make the energy, the love, the soul of the city. And the people who make up those locations come from all types of places in America, and also from out of the country, several from out of the country. So it's not that we disrespect the rest of Africa just because we say, oh, we found this culture in Kemet, but the very question asked in the beginning is who makes up Kemet? And then you want to no, it's not no European, blah, 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 and this, that, the other. It's black culture, it's black culture. But the first thing you do to an African or an African American or a London African, whoever, the first thing you do is demonize them when they make a connection with the culture from Africa to ancient Kemet, to venerate that particular culture. You take it backwards. And when you take it backwards, you may start to look like a house Negro, a coon, which the brother who did the video is not. It's a very well spoken brother from the Illa Ifa tradition, I believe he said he was. I'm just going from my memory. But when you start to get mad at people saying this tribe obviously was from Kemet, here are artifacts from them, here's a clear linguistic connection, here's a clear cultural connection, here's physical renditions and burials that are similar, And then you turn around and say, oh, that's stupid. That's why you doing that. Well, you're doing the same thing that your European counterpart, the Jewish writers in particular. I'm just going to be specific because others are starting to jump on that bandwagon, but most of them were the Jewish writers and the Christian writers who were paid by the churches and synagogues to go research ancient Kemet and find out about the culture to see if there was anything that could deify the church in those cultures, as they sent Thompson to do, as they sent others to do, etc., etc., etc. So you can't do that because then you look foolish. You look like a hater. You turn around and do the same thing that they do. They'll tell you this. This is how silly this is. Watch. Arab influence came in about 560 BC. Persian Empire, what have you, into ancient Kemet, and eventually somewhat lukewarm into Nubia. Herodotus already spoke on the Libyans and the Arabs outside that surrounded those two areas of the Kemet Levant, or the Hapi River, if you will, the Nile Valley, and on down into Nubia, and said these two cultures are trying to claim that this was theirs first and they started it. Which Herodotus reminds you in his writings that could not be, which Diodorus later goes on to say this could not be, which Plutarch goes on to say this could not be. But you already have the premise from the outside cultures, from the people in Greece, telling you what they're trying to do to usurp Kemet and Khenti-hen-nefer. So they're telling you this. So then we have to dig up things from African culture to show you this is clearly not them, especially in the way they're moving now. And this could clearly never have been them from the beginning, because it's written all over the sleeves, faces, and personas of the African people that are there right now. And when we do that, you know what happens? Illa Ifa brother may get mad. A Hebrew is always going to get mad. He's already out of the set. He's in the Abrahamic faith. He's somewhere else. He got hit with the Jesus trick upside his head. Okay? A Gabon brother may get upset. But then you know what they do when they with each other and somebody come to visit and say, so what about Egypt? They say, that's us, that's us, that's us. No, that's us over there. It was telling James Smalls that. Vudan may get mad until the visitor come. No, that's us in Kemet too. That was us. And so an African-American brother of my stature will say, hey, that's us. From there to here. All the way from the Embium drink that my Nigerian brothers may drink, the Massai brothers may drink, and recite the 38 virtues of righteousness in that culture. And we clearly make that connection with the 42 virtues of Ma'at. Negative personifications, whatever you want to call them, whatever the case. We have to deify and we have to make those connections. So when we make those connections from African societies and cultures for you, don't get mad at that. Don't get mad at that. Now, if you're tired of hearing about Kemet, you should be. But that's a good thing. That means we're doing our job. That means we're pushing it around. It doesn't take away from the Maasai culture. It doesn't take away from the Jinka culture or Dinka culture. It doesn't take away from the Wolof-speaking people in Senegal who still practice the Nubian methodology of wrestling, etc., etc. And archaeological evidence to prove that of them is very debatable. Very debatable. For those who say there's no evidence of them moving to West Africa or down south or etc., etc. Okay, it's very debatable. So what we do is deify this particular society in African culture by showing that they were also a part of the grand stand, the great of all greats, to the rest of the world, because everybody looks at Egypt and they want to find themselves there. And they can respectfully over time. I can't say a Persian wasn't there. I can tell you its original inhabitants look like this and darker, black, not brownish, not brownies, not tan, black. And if you know anything about Massai culture, they call God black. They say white is when you're about to die. They call that death. It's not a racial thing. That's what physically happens. They call the red god they call the black god. They say the black, they have a tradition where they say the black god had to stop the red god from acting foolishly, and they compare that red god to the British, who kept trying to what? Convert them to Christianity and call them Hebrews. And they keep trying to do this. Do you understand? So you understand why it's necessary for us to deify and venerate the Massai people. It's very important to deify and big up the Tyr people, which they call Carthage. To deify those, they call them pygmies. They're calling our people pygmies, yo. It's very important to deify these particular cultures and rep them accordingly and give them their respective place in that land called Kemet. But if we talk about the Kuku people, or the Khoikhoi, if you will, the Khoisan people, if you will, the Kuku people started the game, as far as we know, DNA wise. I've written about this before. So don't feel like, and I know he wasn't pointing it at me, he's pointing at some girl he's seen on a video who probably was a little brainwashed, respectively. The little Ela Ife brother. She probably was a little brainwashed, but don't get mad at that. She's still defining some part of African culture, and she's not calling what you have dead. Don't take it like that, family. Never take it like that. It couldn't be dead, and she couldn't be calling it dead. But she's grabbing onto, like I said, what's popping, what's at its height, what's the grandstand, what's the crowning jewel, what's most vivified, and then later on vilified. If you look into other cultures to find your spirituality and your faith and your guidance, or your truth and your knowledge and your know-how and your discovery, that can be an issue. But anyway, this might, like I said, you just hanging out with me tonight. I got kickboxing on. Shout out to Raymond Daniels. I seen you get busy. Shout out to my young brother, Anthony Rumble Johnson, who retired after his loss to Daniel Cormier, and gave a great effort the other night. It just didn't go his way, but that's okay. It's okay, because we're going to deify you right now. I'm giving you veneration right now. I'm giving you the big up, little homie. So let's come back to the article I just wrote the other day. And I'm writing it because I want people to know about these other cultures in Africa. I'm doing exactly what the Ela Ifa brother wants to happen. I am tying them to Kemet to show you that they help create the grandstand of all stands. Okay? Never mind what another culture thinks. We know they could barely bathe at one time. There's no disrespect to them. We just have them yet. Now they're all bunkers. You had to drop a 10-ton bomb. Really? Really, Brother Trump? Really? Huh? To pay off if I see you, man, right now. And you were standing right next to me here in Colorado. You've been here. Remember? All-Star Weekend. It was me, you, and who was with? I think it was Guy Torrey, my man Big John, and them was out there. You was right there with us. You was in the cut. But look at what you're doing, yo. Playing yourself on television. Get to pay off right now, man. Slow down. Slow down. Now you're sending ships over to North Korea. You must be the puppet who's going to start World War III. That's what you're starting to look like. Anyway, it's not about Trump tonight. But what it is about, cultures you find in Africa that made up the crowning jewel and that still have these traditions going on today. So the brother makes some very good points. So brother, when you see this, don't be all, I'm about to come back and make another video. You can, but it's not about that. I'm just saying, I understand your frustration. Certain things you did in a well-spoken fashion. Other things you did, but you're frustrated. You're going to speak how you want to speak. You're going to speak how you want to speak. More eloquently, though, because I know you're a man of faith, and I know you don't tend to cuss. You probably cuss when you get mad, just like I did in the last video I did when I had to talk to some of them Hebrew Israelite dudes. But anyway, let's get to the money. Read the journal, and I'm going to break a few things down as I read the journal. So ancient African cultures and ancient Remetz Egyptian society, and we're covering the Massai, right? Covering the Massai. Let me see. Let me go pull up, here it is. Just want to pull up the actual article here. Written by the Hem-nefer, Ausar-em-ka, or the Hem-ka if you want to say the Hem-ka. I like the old period. We say Hem-nefer, which also refers to prophet. It says, with so much astonishment around ancient Remetz Egyptians and their habits, I feel this article is very important to write for the sake of their true lineages and respect for the people on the African and an awakening for those other peoples and cultures outside of Africa who may get an article with misinformation concerning who made up the ancient people who inhabited Egypt, which we would call Kemet. So right there from the door. And I'm telling you why. Who made that culture up? That culture didn't make them, they made it. Now we see that culture and say, this is wonderful. It must be Europeans. No, it must be the Asians. No, it's the Indians over here. No, it's the ancient families who later taught the Persians, who later taught the Indians, Taharka, who later taught our European brothers, the Greeks, Alexander, etc., so that you know how this pipeline goes, and so that you can definitely show the who, the how, the what. Keep going. Even more importantly, I write this article to venerate and hold in reverence those who brought us something truly amazing through their view of the world and the universe with awe-inspiring architecture, ideas, sciences, and practices that evolved into our common world today. I'll be giving glances into several African tribes that created the people of the Happy River. Excuse me. You know it as the Nile Valley culture, and how we know their clan markers among the people and clans that made up ancient Kemet, Egypt. Now, I'll start with the celebrated Massai people and their greatness. Massai are a clan that is considered to be Cushitic and are a part of what scientists call the Nilo-Hamitic population. They contain the E1B1B haplogroup in over 50% of their clan members. When the study was conducted by Wood et al. For their Y chromosome or DNA studies, they also contain the A3B2 haplogroup, which is found in 27% of the males. The EV38 was also found in 12% of the males. The samples from Wood observed the haplogroup BM60 found in 8% of the Massai, which is found in about 30% of southern Sudan Nilo-Hamitic tribes, showing the close relationship of people intermixing of the clans in Africa. So when you say there's no DNA evidence, and we have the BM60 in 8% of the Maasai, in a term I hate to hear, Nilo-Hamitic, because that's biblical references to your African traditions, Hamitic. It clearly shows you the strand, it shows you the location of the people, and it shows you the types of groups. You know a Sudanese. It's hard to tell a Sudanese from somebody from Punt, from a Somali brother. It's a little harder it's easier to tell some of the Ethiopian brothers who are not as dark-skinned in most cases as their brothers and sisters in the Somali and Sudani area. But their faces look the same. I mean, almost exactly the same. But anyway, in a nutshell, the Maasai have all the characteristics of an ancient Remech or Egyptian. Maasai people speak the Ma'a language, which is also closely related to the Jinka and Nuer clans. Screwed up some. Them linguistic cousins. In ancient Kemet, when speaking the Medu-Neter language, Ma'a means truth or true, such as saying Ma'a Keru, which is to say true of voice, and it's reminiscent just the fact that they know their medicines. You don't know about these Maasai brothers. We're going to talk about them. Here we go. It's well known that in Kemet, the name of one of the more revered aspects of nature or God was Seer, and that he is the Tipawi, the head man or priest, the chief of his clan. He is also represented as the first king to inherit his father, Seb or Geb, the earth's throne or inheritance. And we know this. I'm gonna do. Hold, give me 1 second. You can still hear me, right? I'm gonna show you how we get busy, right? If you don't know who you are and being a star, I'm gonna put it in you so that you know. It's the pyramid text. I got the coffin text, so we got them now. We here. Let's go to the first 11 text, I believe it is. Let me see. First 11. Let's go. Utterance 1. They call this the sarcophagus text. It says, recitation by Nut, the greatly beneficent. That's your immediate solar system. It says, the king is my eldest son who split open my womb. He is my beloved, with whom I am well pleased. The recitation by Geb or Seb, the earth. It says, the king is my bodily son. Then there's some broken off because we let invaders come through there. Because if you ruled the world for 100,000 years or so, eventually you're going to get knocked off your throne. And so many of you deify what's around you now, which has been it's been here less than 1,000 years. So who got the title if we're talking time? If we're talking who spread the guidance? If we're talking who spread civilization that is conducive with nature, because it's from nature, well, you got to point to us. You got to point to us. And because we had the longer reign, and they're just getting started with their reigns, and so destructive in it so early, it's probably not going to last. It's probably not going to last. But anyway, back to the pyramid text, right? Recitation by Nut the Great, who dwells in the lower mansion. The Nesut Beti, or the king, is my beloved son, my firstborn upon the throne of Seb, with whom he is well pleased, and he has given to him his heritage in the presence of the great Ennead, or Paseja. All the Netcharu are in joy, and they say, how goodly is the king, his father. Seb is pleased with him. Recitation by Nut. O king, I have given to you your sister Aset, that she may lay hold of you and give you to your heart for your body. Recitation by Nut. O king, I have given to you your sister Nepitheth, that she may lay hold of you and give you your heart for your body. Recitation by Nut the Great, fruitful one. The king is my son, is my beloved. I have given to him the two horizons, that he may have power in them, as Heru-em-Akhet, or Har-Aketi, as they spell it. All the Netcharu say, it is the truth that the king is your best beloved among your children. Watch over him eternally. Recitation by Nut the Great, who dwells in the mansion of Senet. The king is my son of my desire. I have given to him the Amduat, that he may, or the netherworld, that he may preside over it, as Heru, who presides over the Amduat. All the Netcharu, all the gods, the Netcharu, say, your father Shu knows that you love the king more than your mother Tefneh. They're deifying the king. And if you know anything about Remech culture, as I just said, the first king is Ausar. The very first king is Ausar, is Heru. His son has the trial with his uncle Set, who killed Ausar, or tore up that aspect of nature. Or if we talk about the ancient clans, the Set clan had a fight with the Ausar clan, who was running that part of Kemet, and started to win. And then the Heru clan hops in and starts to tear up the Set clan. And Heru deifies the Ausar-em clan and rules Kemet. So a dying king in ancient Kemet is an Ausar. And then he regenerates and comes back as his son Heru. And when that king dies as a Heru, this is why they call him Shemsu Heru, followers of Heru, or Hekenu-nefer, Hekenu, Heru the praiser. Once the son is deifying what the Ausar did and left for him, as Seb left it for Ausar, Seb being the earth, leaving it for you, the human being, the Ausar, and your children being the Heru, to raise you up and lift you up and keep it going, and your wife being that Aset who nurtures. You understand? You're kicking it with me on my couch right now, so we just going there. Just so you kind of comprehend the concept. Now, back to the article. And I'll just kind of backtrack a little bit. So it's well known that in Kemet, the name of one of the more revered aspects of nature is Ausar, Wesir, if you will. and that he is the Tepawi, headman or priest, chief of his clan. He is also represented as the first king to inherit his father Seb's, the earth's throne or inheritance. The earth is your inheritance, African. Whether you're in America, whether you're in Cuba, whether you're in Spain, whether you're in London, London Live, as the brother Kalam would say, huh? Whether you're in New York with my brother Saber Reggie, click over there, huh? He is also known as the Great Bull, and the Tsar was to be followed. And there was a clan in Kemet who venerated the Tsar as an aspect of nature. He has myths saying that he lived, but he also has actual tombs that different members of his body supposedly were buried in and around Kemet. And this goes back to when Set tore his body up. But anyway, as I'm going to say this again, as I covered it earlier, in more ancient times, they were a clan, and they battled the clan of Set, whom began to win the war against them, and the Heru clan intervenes and assists the Ausar-em clan to vanquish the Setian clan in more ancient times in ancient Kemet. Let me move this up, because now I'm just going from the article, right? The Massai made up some, but not all of this clan, and they still have this clan among their villages today, linguistically called Il-Asir or Il-Asar. That's the name of a Massai clan, members whom can be found across various sections. In Kumak Il-Asar, there are many Il-Asar. This is a clan distributed throughout various Massai sections. Clan membership is inherited through the father, and one does not intermarry with members of one's own clan. For those of y'all who say, oh, he married his sister and son is blah, 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 blah. Among the Asenkisu section, the Olubwani must come from the Il-Asar clan, and all clan members put distinguishing marks on their cows. So everything I just named, and I'm reading that from the Massai dictionary. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Forget it. Forget it. That's coming from the Massai dictionary, though, in case you don't know. In case you don't have one, you can download it. I might show some of the links later, but that's where that's coming from. It's coming from the Massai dictionary. And that's the definition of what? The Il-Asar clan from the Massai people. Okay? With much of the actions of what we hear described in ancient Kemet. And so we venerate the Massai people. We venerate that clan. We venerate the knowledge they dropped on us and the methods that they went about doing things. It doesn't mean we say, oh, Egypt has usurped them. That means this particular clan made up a portion of ancient Kemet. They were there with the big dance, but they were also before the big dance, and they are now after the big dance. And we need to dance again. It's time to dance again. So stop, stop the hate. Don't take it a certain way, as I'm seeing people start to do, as if we weren't tired of you coming. I just had a sister girl knock on my door the other day and try to get me to come to Kingdom Hall. What do I look like going to Kingdom Hall? You think about that for a minute and see if you get mad the next time somebody's talking about ancient Kemet. That's silly. Or ancient Khenti-hen-nefer, which I'm about to tie in. Here we go. This is a very important distinction, because where some scientists will claim they copied this culture, it is clear they assisted in founding this culture when we talk about civilizations such as Kemet and Khenti-hen-nefer, Nubia. We go a little further when we look at the duties of an esteemed Il-Asir and examine the word Olu-Ibwani to see what this can interpret for us and how the Il-Asir operate. Let's go into another word. It's Ol-Asari. Ol-Asari. Il-Asar. Il-Asar. Person of the Il-Asar clan. That's what they call the Ol-Asari. So remember who you are and be a what? An Ol-Asari. Be an Asari. But I ain't disrespecting Africa. Pay attention, man. Pay attention, yo. You're going to sleep behind the wheel. And that's why you fall, you burn, you crash. You tripping, hating. Don't hate. This is still you. Still your culture. It's very important because they're painting over the top of it. So your children may go there now and say, are you sure this is us? How you going to prove it? Oh, I know they was black. They're going to say, prove it. So don't get mad at this stuff. You have to have this stuff. If you don't understand that. So what is one? What is one of these brothers? They have a few different names. The Ol-Ibwani, the Ol-Obwanak, the Nak people. Il-Obwanak. Kibon, or Ibon, Abwani. And what does that mean? That means he's a ritual expert, a medicine man, a prophet, a diviner who has the highest rank in Massai society. Ooh. The warriors have gone to the fortune teller to be blessed. Ibwanito Olwani Alabari. And I can't even say that right. I got to practice my Massai. The diviner is divining the war. You heard that? The diviner is divining the war. And Olubwani is a man about 50 years of age who has the highest rank in society because he is believed to have supernatural powers to heal, bless, undo witchcraft, and to meditate between nature and man. Of an Olubwani are, let's take a look, making predictions, advising and blessing warriors with regards to the success of their battles, concocting and undoing curses if someone is cursed. Olibwani can figure out who made the curse and what action the person should take to undo it, or he can give out medicine to cure the curse. Let's go a little further. They can search for the cause of diseases that are especially challenging. He ascribes his position from his diseased father and will maintain it until he passes it on to his eldest son just before his death. Can we just talk about this stuff? The Massai may have only one or two Olubwani at a time, and every section of the Massai will visit him at certain days of the month. Olubwani is no longer very powerful, but in previous years, he was the most prominent person in Massai Massai society. It's time to revenerate the Olubwani from the Il-Asar. You understand? Also, other people will go to see Olubwani. So not just them there, we need to go see this brother. We need to go see them. They're female diviners too. I ain't get to that yet. They'll go see Olubwani. And if someone cannot understand the cause for something that has happened or wants to know what might happen in the future, he will go to Olubwani, who will give him magic. An explanation is what they call the type of magic he gives them. Olubwani can explain why there is a problem or who placed the curse on the individual in Avon. He can also possibly explain why another person placed the curse on that individual and what the person should do to get the cursor to undo his curse. He is also known to curse if consulted to do so. He will only be able to perform his duties under the influence of alcohol. If that ain't your black, what is? Talk to me. His consultation fee is always paid in the form of cows, usually 49. Get your produce up. In traditional Massai society, there have been and still are famous Ink-Obwanak, as for instance, Sekenanen, who lived near Magadi. Il-Obwanak used Inkidan, calabashes, if you will, to carry small objects used in divination. So that's a look at the Ausar clan. Today, at that time, and more than likely before, things that you cannot ignore. Okay, let's go further. Now, if this is not talking about the ancient Hem-nefer or the Hem-ka, the soul priest or the prophet in ancient Kemet, etc., the Sem, the this, the that, the other types of priests that were there, and then Khenti-hen-nefer, I don't know what could be more defining. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. Let me not leave out the ladies, as I said earlier, our esteemed Necherette, who also have the titles of Ink Obwani, prophetess, Li Obwani, O ritual expert, O Aset, C Iban, to exercise the office of ritual expert. In Kedan, that's Calabash. Leo Abani, healer. O Kuyantiki, self-proclaimed healer. And since we are talking about diviners and healers, let's give these two definitions. I can't even do it. Leo Abani and Leo Abani with the double A, a little bit, and the different clicks over the top, which I'm not about to do tonight. Sorry. Il Abak, the Il Abak is a male healer or doctor for people or animals who may perform surgery, may pray for people to get well, and may undo witchcraft. Traditionally, he works from his home, waiting for those who come for treatment. He's a house doctor. He's a house doctor. But y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. We talking about the house doctors. We talking about the original house doctors. The original Necherettes, the Nefer Netchers, if you will, the good Netchers, the people around them, okay? The Sems, all that stuff, the Sem priest, etc., etc. The Winwets, the priest. He has acquired his position by virtue of effectively doing such work, and his work is lifelong. The doctor has treated a sick child. The doctor who gave me those medicines. Necha, or God, as the spirit, and Ngai is the God. In fact, if you don't know, in Massai culture. So Ngai as the spirit who heals my soul. And this is people trying to Christianize them. Christian, God has blessed us to give us a lot of rain this year. No Massai says that, but they have that in one of the definitions of the dictionary. They say, Ngai has blessed us. The ceremonial leader who goes first in letting people know how a ritual is done, the Ink Abani. The female healer or doctor, she may bless women in order to conceive and bear children. She works from her home, waiting for those who come for treatment. She is believed to have acquired her skills from Ngai, and thus has a high position in society. Okay? I'm just giving you the example so that you can start connecting the pieces. So when they ask you, how do you connect African culture to Egyptian, it's clearly not the same. What are you talking about? You have the ability and the commitment to do it. You have the ability and commitment to do it. I wrote two of these. Two quick journal entries on docs.com. Look up Ausar-em-ka, Ausaremka, Ausar-em spirit, in his double, in fact, Ausar-em-ka You can call me Ausar-em-ka. But I'm giving you this guidance so that you can start to go dig and go do what the brother on the video asked you to do. Get connected with your current African culture. Because you all run around with Abrahamic faiths. And Abrahamic faith does not appreciate your persona, your level of understanding, or the civilization you passed to them when you called the Greeks your children and you nurtured them at one time in history. And we know where they did that from. We know Khenti-hen-nefer would run up to defend these different areas outside of Africa. And we watched one of the last of us do it in Hannibal when he helped the Italians get busy against the Romans. You understand? So I don't want to hear I'm tired of Kemet. Because that's silly. You don't want to say that. You don't want to say that. And I know what you meant when you said it. Because some people do what he described. You try to usurp an African society with ancient Kemet, saying that it started here. But it didn't. The Khoi was getting busy well before. And you can see some of the Medu Neter on their caves, their starting points. That doesn't mean I only deify the Khoi people. I'm just telling you, when it was the Mecca, when it was all going down, when we all met up in New York, this is the people who made up the Bronx. When it was going down in New York, this is the clique who made up Harlem. It's the one that made up Brooklyn. It's the one that made up Queens. That's the Manhattan dudes. Staten Island, my people over here, it's going down. That's Jersey right there. They go Philly right over there. That's our tri-state area. We just pointing out who was there. Doesn't mean they wasn't there before. And the silliness of some of these people doing that is crazy. I know the brother had good intentions, but anyway, I just wanted to hit a couple nails on the head right there, just to let y'all know, it's okay. It's okay. I ain't even get into the calendar and all that. Go read the articles. Put them up in several Facebook areas. Go read the articles yourself, man. I don't write for my health. Go read the article, man. I spent a lot of time writing that. It was a whole week right there. I put them together. Of a knowledge I knew and grew to learn and love from a long time ago from my uncle Larry, who was from West Africa, and from different people I've talked to over the years in my family and outside of my family. It is what it is. So go burn you some incense. Go pour you some libations. Give veneration to our family, man, before you keep doing it with stuff that don't exist. Jesus and all up in this piece. No disrespect for Jesus. Just didn't exist. Take it how you want it. And if you want to say it existed, you at least need to use the right name, Yeshua. Yeshua. Or maybe if you call on his father, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yah. He was in Kemet too. Yeah, he was there. He was there in Kemet too. Yah, Ben Yah, Beni Yah. One of the ancient ancestors. Y'all kept saying, the Hebrews was being treated so badly. But if you go look up the tomb of Beni Yah on osirisnet.net, you're going to find you had the option to put your name on the tomb. You could use your original name, not your Rametu name or your Egyptian name. He chose to keep his Egyptian name because he was taught how in the school, not in slavery, but in the school, how to build. And he was a Hyksos. Y'all gonna say that's Hebrew too. I know. I know. Y'all gonna claim that as Hebrew or whatever the case, but y'all gonna get mad at us for saying, yo, these dudes was in Kemet. Don't do that. Think about what you're saying. Think about that. Think about the chess move you make when you get mad at that. You understand what I'm saying? I hope y'all understand. I hope this little discussion, because I'm chilling tonight. I hope this little discussion, hits home. What's that? But that's from the Massai people. I got it from one of my Massai brothers who's here in Colorado. He here. Whole clan of Nubian brothers is here with me. My partner's Angelo and them. What up? My partners from Senegal is here with me. I taught them English from my rhyme book. Him, Marmadou, Ahmed Zava brother, and I taught them through my rap book because I used to be an MC. I meet the honeys in string bean bikinis, the top heavy like Bop Betty. You're not ready, all that extra stuff. I taught them English. Sitting down with the brother, getting them involved in life around Colorado. I can tell it's getting late. My eyes all red. But don't get mad at that. This is just a small talk, quick discussion. I just want to chop it up with y'all. I ain't send this link out. I'm going to just post this up. Just chewing the fat here on my couch. I ain't feel like going out tonight. Shout out to Julian Marley. He's here. Bob Marley's son is here with us. My man Cleon putting that on. We're going to your club tomorrow. We're going to hang out with the brother. We're going to kick it, man. My Caribbean brothers, man. You see how I move? That's how you should move. Move like you. Remember who you are and be in the saw. Heck in the chair, man. www.KMT-empire.com. I'm bringing it back. It's coming back. Just gotta miss it a little bit, so you know what was there. You know what you had, and know that when it come back, it's gonna be better than ever. Know we about to get busy, just like we bringing this Remet's lifestyle back. We getting busy, so you might get tired of Kemet for a little bit, but don't, because we intend to keep regurgitating it and bringing it back and deifying and venerating and. That's the ancestors. That's the Aku. We don't have no choice but to bring them back. That's the command they left on you. So don't get mad. The Ella Ife was there too. You may not even want to hear that right now. But the Ella Ife was there in Kemet too, and Khenti-hen-nefer too. Where you think them leopard skins came from? And it ain't just because it was a leopard skin. That's priestly garment. Them jaguars, them panthers. Panther's just a dark-skinned leopard. Them jaguars and stuff. Come on, man. I think you're turning your back. And I think you're starting to become disgusted with the wrong thing. You want to get mad. You get mad at those who disrespect the continent and disrespect your persona. It's not a disrespect to say you are Kemet. It is a disrespect. You say, oh, it started in Kemet. It all started there. If I run around like that, have a problem with me. Absolutely. You're right. But if we deify it and we build it with the most religious place in ancient Africa, according to the people who viewed it outside of the culture, why are you mad? Why are you mad, bro? Come at me, bro. Why are you mad? Why would you get mad at that? I understand the reason the brother was mad on the video. But he's not the only one. There's some others out there. Stop it. Stop it. We don't get mad when you try to link Ila Ife with Christianity. We say, I don't know why he's doing that. But we don't get mad at that. Or when you try to mix it with some Hebrew thought, and then turn around and throw rocks at the Abrahamic faith. That's what you do. That's contradictory. That brother didn't do that. I'm just saying in general, because that's what's happening often. That's what I'm hearing from these dudes. Run around and let me hear you say Ngai. Why don't you call him by his name? I don't hear nobody screaming Olodumare. I keep hearing Jesus and Yahweh. How'd that happen? And you mad at us because we don't speak like that. But we can show you the links. We can show you the links. We can tell you that Alexander Clement closed down the temples. We can tell you that he killed some of the priests. Not all, some of. We can tell you that they had to hide the Khenti-hen-nefer faith or the Shemsu Heru faith, the Shemsu Neter faith in the Christianity, and why the rituals seem so similar and familiar. When Constantine made a declaration that you had to do it like this, or be killed on the spot, or as our good brother Infodici says, join Amun Ra right now. You understand? You understand? We understand why. Understand those notions. Understand those people didn't disappear. They didn't disappear. It's E1B1 in every 10th African American. If you don't know the DNA ratios, if you're not up to par or up to speed on how this gets down, that doesn't knock out my knock people or my Benin soldiers who built the first Great Wall, who China came down to copy. You understand? Making sure that you get this clear. Or the fact that the Muslim brothers bow, pray, raise their hands the same way we do in their faith. You understand? Just because you start to trace back origins doesn't mean that you have the right to get mad at them. You don't get mad at the slave trade, most of you, which you should. But you deify, I see more pictures of that. And I see you venerating your ancestors. That's how you get down. That's how you get down. I don't hear you talking about the people who got over here first. We'll talk about a spirit in the sky, a spirit in the sun, a spirit in the cloud, and the lady just changed into a cat, etc., etc. This is how your ancestors used to talk. Now, you may not believe somebody turned into a cat. That's understandable. But to understand that each thing around you in this universe, an aspect of nature, and nature is not alive, is foolish. Even the water you drink is alive. Everything surrounding you is alive. So start acting like you know. Then you can grow. And then you won't get so mad at somebody deifying ancient Kemet, acting as if we don't know the bigger picture too. You understand what I'm saying? Then you can look at an article, which he never probably looked at my article. It has nothing to do with me. He just was tired of some people doing stupid stuff, saying everything is Kemet. A lot of stuff is, but not everything. Okay? Like I said, there's no beef with the brother. I understand it's great. But I'm saying, don't throw stones in that fashion. Check her on what she's wrong about. Check them on what they're wrong about. But make sure you're correct in what you're saying is incorrect. Or be willing to say, I made a mistake when it comes to your front door. Which you didn't. You're just making, like I said, is just stating his opinion. But the hate on Kemet, you need to cut that out. The hate on Khenti-hen-nefer, you need to cut that out. Acting like we should know every single ritual when most priests went to school for one particular type of method. Nowadays, you don't see a philosopher also being a doctor, also being a computer networker, also being a, okay, this is the jobs that they had. This is what made them priests. This is what made them scribes. This is what they were. They were experts in different fields. Each aspect of nature was held in Kemet as a university. So you learned the aspects of that aspect of nature. So you understood it and knew how to profoundly speak about it and perform the acts around it. Doesn't mean there's several gods, but there are several aspects of life. That means there's several aspects of nature. That means there's nature rule. That means there's different gods if you use God in the correct term that it was originated from. Oh, there's only one God. Is there really? The Quran don't say that. The Quran says there's several gods, but only one is worthy of worship. Christians and Hebrews, well, Christians anyway, say Jesus, the Holy Ghost, and God. That's three. Catholics say Mary. Let me stop. Know the different aspects of nature. Know the different aspects of nature so you can call them by their rightful names and so that you can command them accordingly. It's your lack of ability to command them that makes you weak, makes you not comprehensive, makes you think calling me a heathen means something. Foolish. Makes you think this small time on the earth that you spend in about 1,000 years of rule from a particular culture is a long time in comparison to how long your ancestors were here. Think about these things because I'm starting to ramble. Uncle said, life, stability, and strength. Uncle Josenef, life, strength, and health. Remember who you are. Be an Ausar. Dua, 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 dua.